Hi dear students, this class we are going to introduce a probability. So I will try to revise all the ideas whatever is there in the first year probability. That is the first point. So we have two types of experiments are there. The first one is deterministic experiment. The next one is random experiment. What is a deterministic experiment? The experiments which will give the same outcome every time. The experiment which will give the same outcome every time under identical conditions when the experiment is performed. Just like the experiments what we are doing in our physics lab or chemistry lab. Because if you want to find out the radius of a spherical ball by using screw gauge, under identical conditions if you repeat the experiment, the result will be same every time. So that type of experiments are called as deterministic experiments. Next one is which we require random experiment. An experiment which when repeated under identical conditions do not produce the same outcome every time. An experiment which when repeated under identical conditions do not produce the same outcome every time, but the outcome must be one of the several possible outcomes. Okay, we can't predict what is going to be appear, but we can say the outcome must be among those two when a coin is tossed. If a coin is tossed, we can't say either head appears or tail appears, but we can say among these two, either head or tail, among these two definitely one appears. When a die is rolled, we can't say what it is going to be appear, but we can say either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 appears. That type of experiments are called as random experiment. The next one is the set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment. The set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment is called a sample space and is denoted by S. When a coin is tossed 2 times, these are the possibilities. The set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment is called a sample space. The next one is subset of a sample space is called an event. Subset of a sample space is called an event. Here A is equals to an event of getting 2 heads. B is equals to the coin, first coin shows head. First coin shows head. Whether you observed or not, these are all subsets to the set yes. A subset of a sample space is called an event. An event which consists of a single sample point is called a simple event. An event which consists of more than one sample point is called a compound event. An event which never occurs is called an impossible event. Suppose when a die is rolled, A is equals to the event of getting a number more than 7. When you roll your die, you never get a number more than 7. That is an impossible event. Impossible event is generally denoted with 5. An event which always occurs is called a sure event or certain event. That is sure and certain event. Impossible event, an event which never occurs is called an impossible event. An event which always occurs, because whenever you rolled a die, A is equal to the event of getting a number less than 7 is a sure event, because whenever you rolled a die, you will always get a number less than 7 only. So that is a sure event, or we can call it as certain event. The next one is, when can we say that events are equally likely? Equally likely means the probability of occurrence of every elementary event remains the same. Suppose you see S is the sample space. when a coin is tossed one time, you may get head or you may get a tail. So now probability of getting head is 1 by 2. Probability of getting tail also 1 by 2. These events are said to be equally likely. Suppose here when a die is rolled, these are the possibilities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probability of getting a number 1 event, that means whether getting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, same only. These events are said to be equally likely. Suppose you see A is equals to the event of getting sum of the numbers on the dice is 7. Sum of the numbers on the dice is 7 when 2 dice are rolled. Then what happens? 1 6, next 2 5, next 3 4, next 4 3, next 5 2, 6 1, and B is equals to the sum getting 12. Sum 12, in which case you will get 6 6. This is the only one case you will get. These two events are not equally likely. The next discussion is, when can we say that two or more events, mutually exclusive events, or we can say disjoint events, or we can say incompatible events. So two events A comma B, two or more events are said to be mutually exclusive events. Their intersection must be an empty set. A intersection B is equals to 5. Then A comma B are said to be mutually exclusive events. Suppose you see when a die is rolled, these are the possibilities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A is equals to the event of getting an even number 2, 4, 6. B is equals to the event of getting an odd number 1, 3, 5. A is equals to the event of getting an even number. B is equals to the event of getting an odd number. Clearly you can check A intersection B is equals to 5. When A intersection B is equal to 5 means this is an impossible event, right? So A intersection B is equals to 5, then A comma B are said to be mutually exclusive events. Two or more events are said to be exhaustive events if their union must be a sample space. A union B is equals to 5, A union B is equals to sample space. Then A comma B are said to be exhaustive events. In this particular case, A comma B are mutually exclusive events. At the same time, these two union, we are getting a sample space. That's why A comma B are said to be exclusive events also, right? So that is about mutually exclusive events and exhaustive events. In this particular example, A comma B are mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. Next one is A is an event, right? Not occurrence of an event A is denoted by A bar, which we will call it as complement of an event. A is an occurrence of an event, then not occurrence of A or A not. Complement of A is denoted by A bar. At the same time, what about the probability of occurrence of an event? Just I want to discuss classical definition of probability of occurrence of an event. N denotes number of elementary events present in the sample space, and M represents the number of elementary events favorable to the occurrence of A. Then the probability of occurrence of A is denoted by m by n. Probability of occurrence of an event is equals to number of elementary events favorable to A divided by total number of elementary events present in the sample space. As you know, total number of elementary events are n. Number of elementary events favorable to A is equal to m. No doubt m is always less than or equals to n. Number of elementary events favorable to A, no doubt this is always greater than or equals to 0. Now divide with n, you will get 0 less than or equals to m by n less than or equals to 1. So I can say 0 less than or equals to probability of occurrence of an event less than or equals to 1. That's why we can say probability of occurrence of an event is always lies in between 0 and 1. Probability of an impossible event is always equal to 0. Probability of a sure event or certain event is equals to 1. Probability is always lies in between 0 and 1. But we are saying that probability of occurrence of an event is equals to m by n, because m elementary events are favorable to A. Are m are favorable to A means how many are not favorable to A? Total n minus m. So that's why probability of not occurrence of A is denoted by P of A bar. Probability of not occurrence of A is equals to, because the total n elementary events are there, out of those n, m are favorable to A. That's why number of elementary events not favorable to A is equal to n minus m divided by n. That we can write it as 1 minus m by n, that is equals to 1 minus p of A. So we can write probability of occurrence of A plus probability of not occurrence of A is equals to 1. P of A plus P of A bar is equals to 1. So the next discussion here is, there are some set theoretic approach here. So what represents A union B? A union B is equals to at least one of A comma B. At least one of A comma B, or simply we can say A or B. Next one is A intersection B means A and B. So can you say what represents A bar intersection B bar? A bar intersection B bar means neither A nor B, right? But at the same time, I hope so everyone know this is the set A and set B. This portion represents A, B. This portion represents from A, the part of B is removed. So this represents A minus B. Now another diagram I am drawing here. This is A and this is the set B. The first one represents A. The entire circle I am shading, that is A. Next I want to shade B bar. What is the meaning for B bar? Exclude B. From the entire universal set, we have to exclude B. The portion which I am shading in such a way, B is excluded. So this one represents exclude B. B excluded. The portion which I am shading with vertical lines represents B bar except B. Now what about the intersection of these two? The portion which I shaded where the horizontal lines and vertical lines are there, this portion represents A intersection B bar. So what we can say, A minus B is the same as A intersection B bar. A minus B and A intersection B bar both are same. Once you observe here, A minus B means from A A intersection B we have to remove. From the circle A, we have to remove A intersection B. That's why I can write P of A minus B is nothing but P of A intersection B bar. That is nothing but P of A minus P of A intersection B. At the same time, P of B minus A, P of B minus A is equals to, we can also write that one as P of A bar intersection B. B minus A can be written as A bar intersection B. That is nothing but P of B minus P of A intersection B. Right? Next one, you know addition theorem on probability. A comma B are any two events associated with the random experiment of a sample space. Yes, A comma B are any two events associated with the sample space S of a random experiment. Then P of A union B, probability of occurrence of A or B. P of A union B is equals to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. That is P of A union B is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Now here what I am doing is, this is the set A and this is the set B. Right? Here in the set A, total we have M elementary events are there favorable to A, and in the set B, N elementary events are there favorable to B. Now B consists of P elements. A intersection B consists of P elements. So what is the meaning for this? Number of elementary events favorable to A only. That means this particular portion represents M minus P. Number of elementary events favorable to B. Number of elementary events favorable to B is equal to N minus P. Now I want to find out P of A is equals to, come on, tell me what is P of A? P of A is equals to total M are there. That's why you will get M divided by total number of elements, say Q. Total we have Q elements are there in the universal set, that is in the sample space, and P of B is equals to number of elements in the set B is equals to N. That's why you will get N divided by Q. Now what about P of A intersection B? In A intersection B we have P element, that's why you will get P by Q. Now we have to find out P of A union B. How many elements are there in P of A union B? A only, M minus P elements. In A intersection B, P elements. In B we have N minus P elements divided by total number of elementary events, Q. Now minus P plus P cancel. We can write this one as M plus N minus P divided by Q. That further can be written as M by Q plus N by Q minus P by Q. This is nothing but probability of occurrence of A. Next one is the probability of occurrence of B minus P of A intersection B. That is addition theorem on probability. P of A union B is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. For any two events A comma B, we can apply this one. Now suppose here A comma B are mutually exclusive events. When A comma B are mutually exclusive events, what happens? A intersection B is equals to phi. When A comma B are mutually exclusive events, A intersection B is equal to phi. When A intersection B is equal to phi, you will get P of A intersection B is equal to 0. Now the addition theorem changes as P of A union B is equals to P of A plus P of B in case of A comma B are mutually exclusive events. Next addition theorem for three events. P of A union B union C is equals to P of A plus P of B plus P of C minus P of A intersection B minus P of B intersection C minus P of A intersection C plus P of A intersection B intersection C. This is addition theorem for three events. But here A comma B comma C are mutually exclusive events. Then what happens? If A comma B comma C are mutually exclusive events, P of A union B union C is equal to P of A plus P of B plus P of C. So that is about addition theorem and its applications. At the same time, next we can discuss about odds in favor of an event, odds against an event. So what is the meaning of odds in favor of an event? Odds in favor of an event. Odds in favor of an event is equals to number of elementary events favorable to A by number of elementary events against to A. Odds in favor of an event means number of elementary events favorable to E divided by number of elementary events not favorable to E. Odds in favor of an event E is equals to number of elementary events favorable to that event by number of elementary events not favorable to E. So that we can write it as N of E divided by N of S, numerator divided with the number of elements in the sample space, denominator also divided with the number of elements in the sample space. Now the numerator becomes probability of occurrence of an event by probability of not occurrence of an event, that is equals to P of E divided by P of E bar. Probability of not occurrence of an event by probability of occurrence of an event by probability of not occurrence of an event is nothing but odds in favor of an event. Similarly, odds against an event is equals to odds against an event E is equals to, same we can write number of elementary events against to E divided by number of elementary events favorable to E. Odds against an event means this one. Now I can write this one as P of E bar divided by P of E, so that we can write it as 1 minus P of E divided by P of E. So that is about odds in favor of an event, odds against an event. At the same time, I hope so everyone is familiar with the playing cards. So playing cards we have, this is the set with A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jock, Queen, King. These are the cards. Total how many cards are there? 13 cards are there. Starting with A, Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. Jock, Queen, King. These are the cards. Here we have Diamond. Next one we have Hearts. Next we have Spade. And one more is there. We have Club. So this is Diamonds and Hearts. This is Spade, and we will call this one as Club card. These two cards are in black color. These two are in red color, right? So in diamonds like this we have 13 cards. Similarly in hearts also we have 13 cards. In spade also we have 13 cards. In club also we have 13 cards. Total how many cards are there? 4 into 13, 52 cards are there. So ace cards how many are there? we have 4 ace cards are there. Number of red cards is equals to, number of red cards is equals to 26. Number of black cards is equals to 26. Now if you observe these 3 cards, Jack, Queen, King, on these 3 cards there is a face. That's why these cards are called as face cards. To total how many face cards are there? 4 into 3 is equals to, we have 12 face cards are there. We will call this one as one suit. So how many suits we have? Total we have 4 suits are there, right? Number of red kings, how many red kings are there? 2 red kings are there. How many black kings are there? 2 black kings are there. Number of ace cards, number of ace cards, total 4 ace cards are there. How many spade ace cards are there? There is only one spade ace. So that is about the cards. This information also you have to know. Okay, bye bye.